What is up, guys, and welcome to a very special series. Behind me I've got two very special machines. If you've seen the thumbnail, you probably know what I'm working on. If you haven't seen these machines before, now this is a machine that's very special to myself. This is the first commercial machine I had in the brew lab, my old cafe, and it's a machine that I learnt a lot of things, I developed a lot of things, and built a lot of relationships with the company purely out of experiments and trying to do some pretty wild things with these machines. So I'll give you a bit of a backstory on these machines as we go. And this series is probably going to be a bit of a lengthy one because there's a couple of parts to it. And the second one is probably going to be a little bit frowned upon by a few people. But if you understand the story and you understand how I got to where we are, you'd probably understand a little bit better. But let's get stuck into it, and I'm going to show you these machines. So these are both Sanremo Operas. This one's obviously in quite a few pieces. Now there is a bit of a backstory. So this is actually the original Sanremo Opera 2 group from the brew lab, the original brew lab when I bought it. That's the machine that was in there. I don't actually own this machine. This does belong to my coffee roaster who I now work for, coincidentally. So my plan is to use parts from this one / spare parts to bring this back to life. Then they can do whatever they want with that. Hopefully set it up at the roastery because it'll be good fun. And then this guy is not going to be a functioning machine. It's just too expensive to fix. That's why I ended up pulling it from the cafe. Parts for these things are insanely expensive, and well, it just hasn't been viable. So a little bit of a backstory on the machines is the 2 group obviously wasn't big enough for when we moved to the bigger location. So I purchased a 3 group, and we needed a 3 group. Realistically, with the volume we planned on doing in that place, I had to buy a bigger machine. So I did that. That machine was secondhand when I bought it, and I knew it needed some work. So I did set it up in the old location to test it, run it through its paces to see what it needed, and the obvious stuff popped out where I needed to replace little bits and pieces. The machine had been sitting for a little while. So we delayed the opening of the new store, and I sent the 3 group off to a technician. I am not going to name the technician, and I'm not going to go too far into a lot of the stuff around it because, to be honest, I'm still quite pissed off about the entire situation, and a poor technician is the reason the machine's sitting on the ground and not in a cafe. So, long story short, this machine was sent away to be fully refurbished, brand new and updated. What I mean by that is these machines come with Bluetooth and these little tablets to control all of the pressure parameters and flow, and it's crazy. I'll run you through how all those things work once this machine is working. It's super complicated. Now, what I did was I upgraded all the internals of this to the version 2 so that it's Wi-Fi instead of Bluetooth. Much better. It works from the app on your mobile phone, so you can do things on the fly a little bit quicker. Those old tablets are pretty clunky. Now the machine was working after about 3 times of going back to the technician, then eventually opening the cafe with 2 group. Then they finally got this apparently working, put it on the bench, and it started leaking water out, ruined the electronics that I'd paid a stupid amount of money for. So we pulled it out and we just put a totally different machine in because this wasn't big enough, this one wasn't working, so we put a 3 group other machine. We're not talking about that, it doesn't matter. This is my favorite machine in the world when it works. That's the big thing. Now, Sanremo Opera, very special machine. Anyone that's been in the industry understands why this is so special. There's a lot of people in the industry that don't understand this machine, and they probably never will. With that said, when they're working, they're incredible. Like I said, I will give you a full rundown once the machines are working, but a quick rundown is on the interface here, you have 3 buttons and this lever you can push both ways. So each group head has its own individual boiler inside, which that's inside the boiler. That's your element there. This thing weighs more than Earth. So hot water in here, and then you obviously have your 2 main boilers inside. So nice cool water, not cold, but cooler than your typical machine, and then it pulls it into here, this heats it up. So so your water's not sitting at a stupid high temperature, calcifying and turning bad like most machines. And then you can program on this machine with the Wi-Fi how much water, how much pre-infusion, how much post-extraction, pressure, different pressures, volumes, etc. It is insane. So each group head can have 6 different profiles, because you got 1, 2, and 3, forwards, backwards, all individual. So you could do decaf, house blend, single O, whatever. You can do absolutely anything. The sky's the limit with this machine. Now, anyone that's been around coffee for long enough should have heard of Sasha Sestich from Honor Coffee. He actually had a lot to do with the development of this machine. And this tech's actually quite old now. It's over 15 years old and it's still very advanced. It's just old school, so it's very mechanical, which means there's a lot of things to go wrong. Trust me, I found out the hard way. But when they're working, they are incredible, make the best coffee in the world in my opinion. There are more modern machines like the Sanremo U, Slayers, all those sort of things that do make great coffee. But I'm just obviously a bit romantic about these things. It's special to me. So that's enough of me waving my hand in front of a coffee machine while I talk. Now the plan is, like I said, to turn the 2 group into a functioning machine with parts from the 3 group, and I do have a few spare parts as well because I've bought things that I didn't need. We're not going down that road again, I'm gonna get upset. It's a long story and massive invoice, and for a machine that doesn't work, so you can imagine how I feel. So one of the things we need to do is reinstall the main pump. So each group head has its own individual pump as well, because you have flow control, so the speed this travels changes the flow, the water comes out. Anyway, these are very, very expensive. I've bought multiple of them, so I'm fully aware, and there is absolutely nothing wrong with this one, even though I was... Stop it, I need to stop doing that. It's not fair. You guys are just here to watch cool content. That's what I'm gonna do. So I need to reinstall this pump on the 2 group. Hopefully, I might actually pull one of the brand new ones from the 3 group. That makes more sense. All brand new pumps on the 2 group. There's a lot of broken fittings on this machine just because it's been sitting for such a long time. A couple of the levers and stuff are a bit squeaky. So I'm gonna pull all the good stuff from the 3 group over to the 2 group, get it functioning, and then the plan for the 3 group is probably going to divide the room, especially if you love these machines. But for me, it's the right thing to do. So with help from one of my friends, we are going to turn the 3 group into the world's most expensive coffee table. Literally coffee table. So yes, it's not going to be super complicated, but I am going to get funky with the design. This machine does have some cool angles, and if you pull most of the covers off, it looks pretty crazy. You guys are going to see these machines a bit more over this series as well, so stay tuned for that stuff. It is going to be pretty crazy, and I know this is probably going to upset a few people, but if you want to pay to fix the machine, more than happy to take your money, but I'm not spending another $1 on this machine to attempt to do nothing with it, because I don't own a cafe anymore anyway. And the second-hand market for these, not worth anything, so I would rather keep it. I love the machine, I love the looks of it, and I'll just hold on to it. And until I find maybe a better use for it. But until then, I can pull the parts out, maybe get some of my money back for the ridiculous expensive things in this, and go from there. But I think it's going to be pretty cool, and I hope you guys are excited to come along on this adventure. This is pretty crazy, wild machines, and the more of this you watch, the more of it you're going to understand how this machine works and why it's so special. So the next time you see these machines, in the next video of this series, it's not going to be the next video because I've got a few videos I'm doing at the same time. I'm being a real content creator here, guys. So there will be a bit of a series on this, and you're going to see me start pulling these things apart, and I'm going to explain what all the things do as I go across. But that's about it for now, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video, even though I didn't do a lot other than talk and move my hands like a YouTuber. But if you are interested in this stuff, please hit that subscribe button. I'm trying to get up there, and it's really, really difficult. The coffee world is a bloody tricky one to break into, because I don't know why, but it's hard. 3.5 years now, and there's still nowhere near enough coming back from it. So I hope this does something. That's it for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching. See you later.